What it do, cuckolds? It's your boy the Hater up in this piece. Today's video is going to be about what John Cena needs to do at WrestleMania. Let's face it, all right? This company, as I've said in the past, is full of mid-carders, which now they're trying to rebrand as Night 1 main eventers. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter if you main event Night 1, you're still a mid-carder, you know what I mean? Like, we all know that if the Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens were in a one-night card, there is zero chance it would ever main event a WrestleMania, right? I think it's also the first time a tag team match has main evented anything like in the last 20 years or whatever, right? There was one where it was it's usually like the world champion versus the tag team champions, like Stone Cold and Triple H versus Taker and Kane, you know what I mean? It's usually that kind of stuff. Normally, we don't see this kind of jobberish nonsense, right? Let's be real. The Night 1 main event doesn't count because you can put any match as the Night 1 main event, right? Even matches that are tertiary in Night 2 might be more important than the Night 1 main event. You know, it's as simple as that. And this is not up for debate. This is just a fact of life, cucks. So, with that being said, the only thing that matters in the context of WrestleMania, of course, is what is going to be the Night 2 main event, and kind of related to it, is John Cena going to win the 17th title, right? Normally, I would personally think that Cena could win the Rumble, and obviously just go and main event Night 1, or, even be in a mid-card match and win the 17th world title, which would be weird because it's such a big accomplishment, right? We're basically establishing who the greatest wrestler of all time is if he wins this. So it should be a main event, but it's okay if it's not, right? But now that mid-card Jey Uso it looks like he's going to go wrestle mid-card jobber Gunther in a match that nobody could possibly give a flying fuck about. Oh, Hater's backtracking! He's backtracking! No, just some people are just complete retards, and they don't understand the point, even though I've made the point clear 18 times. Some people are still confused as to my opinion about Jey Uso. I'll say it one more time for all you dumb fucks. I've realized that the Hater thought that his fans were smart, and a lot of them are smart. But a lot of them, unfortunately, like every other fan base, are complete morons, right? These are the people that I don't give a shit if they unsubscribe. It's they're dumbasses, you know what I mean? They don't add anything to my life or to the discussion or anything. They're just morons. So I don't give a fuck. But if they want to stay, they can stay too. The Hater loves everybody. It's just shut the fuck up, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, fact of the matter is, Jey Uso is a mid-carder, Gunther is a mid-carder. This is going to be a mid-card match. The probability of this main eventing anything is essentially zero. The probability of Gunther main eventing WrestleMania Night 2 is zero. That's not happening. You know what I mean? Unless everyone in the company dies from typhoid fever or something, that's not going to happen, right? So, taking that to the side, right? Now the question becomes, what is going to be the main event? Well, there's a few possibilities, right? Of course, we have the circle jerk that's happening with Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and I guess Seth Rollins, right? Something is brewing there, you know what I mean? But to me, that feels like the loser's bracket. So I don't really care what happens because CM Punk is going to be at the Elimination Chamber. And for that match to materialize, he's going to have to lose the Elimination Chamber, right? So it doesn't seem reasonable for someone to lose the Elimination Chamber, lose the Rumble, and then still main event WrestleMania, right? It's actually kind of weird because, for example, the first time that I can remember where the Royal Rumble winner didn't main event, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's Rey Mysterio. And that was complete bullshit. You know what I mean? The main event should have been Rey Mysterio versus Orton versus Kurt Angle. That's a very, very viable main event. It's a very star-studded main event, and it follows tradition. You know what I mean? But instead, they made the main event be John Cena and Shawn Michaels. And I think the next year, someone else won, and it was John Cena versus Triple H, or vice versa. I flipped that on its head a little bit, right? So it's we want people to be rewarded for the Rumble, but there's precedent there that says that just because you win the Rumble doesn't mean you have an important match anymore. That's not how it is anymore. Simple as that, motherfuckers. Then there's been too many people that have won the Rumble and haven't main evented WrestleMania. Like Nakamura, for example, is an example. But also there's been other jobbers that have won the Rumble that have main evented WrestleMania and maybe they shouldn't have. For example, Drew McIntyre winning and main eventing against Brock Lesnar. That was obviously the incorrect choice. But it's nobody was around back then, right? It was either that or Braun Strowman versus Goldberg. You know what I mean? You can't have that as a main event. So there you have it, cucks. But the point is this, right? As I've just said, nearly everyone is a Night 1 main eventer, right? And then there's people that are, technically night 2 main eventers like Drew McIntyre that, quite frankly, I just don't count them as WrestleMania main eventers because I think to myself, if this were the Attitude Era, Drew McIntyre would be a comedy character, let's be honest. Nobody would take this guy seriously. But, I do appreciate that Drew takes it seriously sometimes, right? And I do appreciate that, like, he has a lot of cool moves. And, there's something there with Drew, right? He just, honestly, in my opinion, like, basically my take on Drew is, like, when they debuted him as the Chosen One, it's like they should have just stuck with that and then had him, progressively rise through the card. And they could have had a main eventer for the last, 15 years instead of, treating him like a jobber and then releasing him, which was really stupid. But anyways, neither here nor there, right? The fact of the matter is that the only real main eventer in this company that's left is Roman Reigns, if you want to consider him. But honestly, he's about as part-time as Cena, so I think they're on the same level. And Cena is, now fucking done with this company, but he's got one more year. So, logic would dictate that obviously Cena's going to have a massive match at WrestleMania. And probably win it, right? Because it's his last WrestleMania match, It is what it is. But the fact of the matter is, John Cena clearly should win the Elimination Chamber and should go and wrestle. I don't give a fuck who it is. You know what I mean? At that point, it doesn't matter. It can, and this is what people don't understand. The same thing with Jey Uso. It doesn't fucking matter who wins the Rumble if they're gonna wrestle Gunther. Who gives a flying fuck? You know what I mean? It could have been Otis, winning the Royal Rumble, and he can wrestle Gunther, and I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if it's even if it's fucking Randy Orton or John Cena. I don't care. I mean, if it's John Cena, I care because it's John Cena. But beyond that, even if John Cena won the Rumble and went after Gunther, I don't give a shit that he's wrestling Gunther. Just like I don't give a shit that if John Cena wins the Elimination Chamber, I don't care if he wrestles Cucky Rhodes or Randy Orton. I mean, that'd be kind of cool, but I don't really care. The match here is Cena's last match. That's the draw. That's the appeal. The appeal of the match is not at all, oh my God, we've got, Cena and can Cena beat Cody Rhodes? I don't give a fuck. I know that he can because he's beat him 1,000 times when Cody Rhodes was Stardust. The question is, can Cena win the title? And you don't need Cody Rhodes for that, right? In other words, the other side of the coin is often immaterial, right? That's why a lot of times the champion going into WrestleMania is a heel, right? Because it doesn't matter, right, who the heel is, who the bad guy is. What matters is the good guy, is the person that's being focused on, the Rumble winner, let's say traditionally, is this person going to win the big one, right? And in this iteration of WrestleMania, the secondary question, in my opinion, is will Jey Uso win the world title? The primary question that needs to be addressed by this WrestleMania is, will John Cena establish himself as the greatest Royal Rumble winner? Now, I will give credit where credit's due, right? And this is why people are too dumb to understand the long term of this, right? If John Cena won the Rumble, right, and won the world title at WrestleMania, there would be only one memorable moment, right? It would be Cena won the title and retired, right? After winning the Rumble. Now, if Jey Uso beats Gunther, there's two memorable moments. And these will be memorable moments, right? Because it's different than CM Punk beats Gunther in the mid-card match, right? Nobody cares. We've seen CM Punk do that before, right? Nobody's going to remember that as a highlight of CM Punk's career. People talk about this feud CM Punk had with Drew McIntyre. No one's going to remember this feud as the best work of CM Punk. Now, they're going to pretend to because it's the most recent, and it's called recency bias. But, in the context of CM Punk's career, this is just another random-ass feud. So, with that being said, now we have two moments to look forward to. The main event of night 2, if you will. John Cena, will he win the title? And then a mid-card match, which can main event night 1 all at once. To me, main eventing night 1 is no different than being the third match on night 2 or the third match on night 1. It has no bearing on anything, right? Nobody's there to see you. You know what I mean? They're just there as part of the WrestleMania weekend. Primarily, I would imagine that the number of people that go to WrestleMania night 1 and don't go to night 2 is basically zero. You know what I mean? It's just people that are I'm tired, maybe I'll go home earlier and skip WrestleMania, or they die in a car accident on the way there or some shit like that, right? So, that's what I'm getting at. Again, the primary interest that surrounds this WrestleMania is the John Cena situation, right? Nobody cares whether CM Punk and Paul Heyman are going to blow each other and Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins are going to be there as well. Nobody cares about any of this. This feels like a mid-card match, and I don't care what you say. Roman Reigns' return has felt like a mid-carder's return. It's as simple as that. Can Roman Reigns beat Solo Sikoa? Wow. Now the question is, can Roman Reigns beat Seth Rollins, who loses to everybody, Or can he beat CM Punk, who, like, is quite frankly just below him in every capacity? You know, good for him. Hopefully that's what happens. I would love for CM Punk to get eliminated by Logan Paul or something like that, or maybe by Roman Reigns. I don't know what's going to happen. It doesn't matter. But the point is that John Cena needs to win the Chamber, and John Cena needs to, of course, win the WWE title. John Cena is that dude, and it's as simple as that. He needs to win both, and then he can, you know. And here's the thing: he doesn't even have to, like, ride off into the sunset, right? It's not like after WrestleMania he's going away. You know what I mean? This is the last year, cucks. We still have the rest of 2025. Cena can then have, like, 1 or 2 title defenses maybe, and drop it at SummerSlam to somebody, or maybe even drop it, like, I don't know, like right before at Survivor Series, right before the Rumble next year, Survivor Series. You know, you can drop it to, like, Braun Breaker or something like that. Like, there's a lot you can get out of Cena, but there's nothing you can get out of Roman Reigns, right? Because primarily, like, the Roman Reigns experiment, whether you like it or not, has failed miserably, right? It's just a fact, right? Roman Reigns, this idea of we're going to create a new star that we can then use to push other people, is not happening. Because the last year of Roman Reigns' career has been abysmal. Now it's like he can't elevate anybody because he had trouble beating Solo Sikoa, you know? So, like, if Braun Breaker beats Roman Reigns, like think about it. If Braun Breaker beats Roman Reigns, is this like a huge deal? You know what I mean? Would anyone be like, wow, I can't believe it? No. Solo Sikoa pinned him. He's been, like, a heel champion who's had to cheat in every match. So it wouldn't be shocking at all if, like, even if, like, Logan Paul pins Roman Reigns, it wouldn't be shocking at all. Especially considering the fact that Logan Paul could probably beat his ass in real life. You know what I mean? Now, if, for example, like, Braun Breaker pins Cena, that's a big deal, right? That's still a big deal. See what I'm saying? Even if, like, Gunther, let's say it ends up being Cena versus Gunther, right? Which I think is the more reasonable permutation, honestly. Right? Maybe Cena should just fight Gunther. Like, Gunther needs to lose that match immediately because he's a fucking jobber. But if Gunther has a competitive match with Cena, you know, Gunther still gets put over more than if he beats someone like Roman Reigns or if he beats someone like Cody Rhodes. Because nobody gives a shit about these guys. Like, they're never going to be on the level of Cena. We all know. Like, Roman Reigns will never be as good as Cena or as massively over as Cena. Cody Rhodes, forget about it. Cody Rhodes is not even going to be on the level of CM Punk. So with all this being said, I think the correct move, cucks, is to have Cena win the Chamber, and then depends on how you go with it. Quite frankly, if it's Jey Uso versus Cody Rhodes, that's not a good idea because then Cody Rhodes is going to have to be in a mid-card match, which he probably will be anyways, right? Unless he's wrestling Cena. And then Gunther would be elevated to potentially the main event. That would be fucking ridiculous. Imagine Gunther versus Cena closing night 2. I just, like, don't see that. But, like, if it were to happen, it would be entirely because Cena's involved, right? It wouldn't work in any other capacity. Even Gunther versus Randy Orton wouldn't main event WrestleMania, right? There's only one big match, John. You understand me? Now, with all that being said, I think the storyline writes itself. Cena eliminates everybody. AA's someone, right? Within the Elimination Chamber match, whoever's going to be in it, like Logan Paul's probably going to be in it, right? Like, almost certainly. I don't think it's going to be Rey Mysterio. Logan Paul and CM Punk can have their thing if that's the feud that's going to happen. Because that's a possibility. Maybe the feud is going to be like Logan Paul versus CM Punk, which I think actually would make a lot of sense. That's how I'm going to book it, you know? And then Roman Reigns can wrestle Seth Rollins in, like, the most meaningless match of all time. You know, nobody cares about that match at all. It could be like the opening match for all we care about. I don't give a shit at all, right? And then John Cena can wrestle wherever the fuck he wants, you know, because he's John Cena. And that thing writes itself, right? So that's how I'm going to do it, you know? The next video, I'm going to do like a, you know, preliminary card booking, cuckolds. Now take care of yourselves and go fuck your mothers.